Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Misfits Racing League. My name is Stryfium. Joining me, as always, is, of course, Unicorn for Tier 2 Racing. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this trip. Monaco last week, absolutely crazy. Whereas this week, we got, Baku, still very tight, tricky circuit, but it's a little bit more forgiving in terms of overtaking that final sector, just flat out through there. It's going to be a very exciting race to watch.
Well, Tier 3, America's now already done and dusted. Baku, as you said, very fun circuit here. That last straight, it's going to be a very intense race. 20 turns around the streets of Baku for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And of course, it is round number 8 of all the action here for Season 4. Next week, we go to Canada for round 9. Following that, France, Austria, Britain, Hungary, Belgium, of course, Italy, Singapore, Russia, Japan, United States, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi for the finale of the 22nd round. Of course, massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. You can check them out via the link in the chat or the panels below on their website for some amazing simulation racing rig products. They're really helping out the sim racing community, so check them out via that link. Click that link, tell your friends. They got some great quality gear there. Look at this standings chart, Unicorn. It is fantastic. We have Hurricane leading this championship, not by a lot, but by enough that he's on that top spot with Neon close behind him in the McLaren, and it's Azir, the Williams, in third. McLaren, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, the top three in this constructors. And it has been a very up and down season here in the Tier 2 grid. And with all that being said, we're just about ready to go racing here. But if you look at all of these drivers, the only driver that has not collected any points is the newest addition to the Ferrari squad, not the Ferrari squad, excuse me, the Haas squad in Husam. So welcome to the grid, Husam, and it'll be good to see you there. And only driver without points, and that is because, of course, he's going to be making his full-time debut today. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see, and without all that, we're just, I think, getting these drivers readied up and dialed in ahead of 18 minutes of qualifying, 26 laps around a very intense circuit. Potentially not as intense as Monaco. It's not as tight, but that may create different types of situations and scenarios. A little bit more wheel-to-wheel action, a little bit more pressure coming through turns, especially that Sector 1. But it's going to be a lot of fun, so definitely looking forward to that. And I think everybody else in the chat and viewing along today can also be looking forward to something else because we haven't seen it yet. And that is rain, Unicorn. Where have the raindrops gone?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Striff. I was scared that yesterday we were going to see it in Tier 3. That was a very overcast race and one that I wasn't really prepared for, but it didn't happen. It hasn't happened. We almost had it in APAC on Sunday. In Monaco, we almost saw rain there, but again, it was just really cloudy, and then it wasn't. So I don't know where the rain is. I don't know why it hasn't rained yet at this stage of the season. I think we're a third of the way in now. So where is it? I don't know. But Baku, it's definitely possible for it to rain around here. A little bit of a surprise when it does, but I would love to see it. But yeah, we're going to get these guys readied up and we're going to go racing here as everyone just about in.
Well, I'm thoroughly excited for this campaign after having America's last night as well as Tier 3. It's going to be a very exciting race, to say the least. Tier 2 has been one of these grids in the 5 grids of racing for MRL that have really given us a top level of excitement, as has, well, in all reality, each grid has touched on those notes, but through Baku, we'll just have to see what Tier 2 is able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got that, final straight or final sector, I should say, where it's flat. It's not a straight. There's multiple corners down there, but there's so much overtaking opportunity and so easy to go 3 wide down into turn 1, and that is such a unique aspect to this, track that you don't really have a lot elsewhere. You could say China, but again, the speed you can get out of turn 16, the exit there is so crucial. And, everyone who's raced around this track will tell you that, that exit there, a lot of the exits on these corners are crucial, but that one there, it's so important to get a good exit down there, especially when you're in a DRS train. Bad exit out of there means you're going to lose positions. You're going to lose, time, pace. So really important. That's going to be a hot spot for these guys throughout the evening. It's where I'm going to have my eyes peeled, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But we are ready. The session is underway, and qualifying can begin here in Azerbaijan.
Well, it's what we've been waiting for now. Tier 2 racing, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 8 of MRL Season 4. My name is Stryfium from Canada, and joining me is Unicorn from the UK. And of course, before we jump into this qualifying, I'd just like to take a second moment to jump in and let you know about our fantastic partners, Next Level Racing. Check them out in that link via the chat or the panels below on their website for some amazing sim racing rigs and gear. They have some awesome stuff there. 18 minutes now of qualifying is what is about to ensue here around Baku. And we're getting the roll of the dice, Unicorn. That potentially, cheat pair of dice. But we're getting the roll, and we are going to see what here in the qualifying. Sunshine. And doesn't appear to be a cloud in the sky here for quali. So not just yet. No rain here in qualifying. We'll see what the race will give us.
Dry coming across in chat, and well, that's not exactly what we were looking for, but it's what we've been given, and I'm sure that's a sigh of relief for these drivers. That second sector is so technical, and Castle in particular, you don't want to be having wet weather conditions there if you're a driver. Unless, of course, you are, one of these guys who thrives in the rain. We haven't got to see, there's so many new drivers here this season, Striff. We haven't got to see who is, the new wet weather kings and queens on these grids, because, well, we just haven't had the wet weather to have them, showcase their skills. But we've got plenty of drivers coming out on track right now. Well, we'll see what they can do in these dry conditions.
Well, it's going to be an interesting race. We have a good chunk of new names on the grid today as well, I believe, here in reserve capacity. One of them is Max O'Connor in for Darian Alfie over at Ferrari. We also have
very late call as well.
I'm trying to figure out who we have here in the Mercedes. We have Kai, of course, and Pavlushka is how I am reading this, but I'm not entirely sure if that's a different name or if it's a different or a new driver. Darian serving a race ban tonight, so Max O'Connor in for him over at Ferrari for the Pirates.
Yeah, I think Pavel is what he goes by. If his Steam or his Discord name is anything to go by, yeah, Pavel. We've also got Viper down there in 19th, obviously reserving here this season for the Rebel squad, the Renault squad. But yeah, a few reserves on here, and like I said, Max O'Connor popping in late. So a big shout out to all our reserves. They really help us keep these grids nice and full when full-time drivers can't attend for whatever reason it may be, outside commitments. And I think we've had an issue here with one of the Red Bulls. I think Jake is lost an end plate strip coming into Sector 3.
That's not how you want to start these sessions at all, but I'll tell you something about starting the session. Henner's now in the McLaren coming out of turn 2 with a slight brush of that wall on exit. You heard it, but fortunately for him, that end plate still intact on the front right of this McLaren now through the left-hander of turn 3. Very heavy braking zone there as you come out of the DRS zone. Very high potential for overtaking into that third turn. Now out of 4 through 5 and 6. Purple through 1, of course, as he's the first car on track. Now into turn 7 we go, and this is where things really start to get tricky, as this is realistically the entrance into what we like to call Castle. Coming into Castle section now, where we saw a few drivers yesterday have some mishaps, and we'll have to see how many drivers say hello to the wall today. Out of 12 through 13, now 14 coming up ahead here in the McLaren. Into the esports curve, or turn 15, as most drivers will jump onto that inside curbing. You can see now Neon just ahead of him in 4th position on the timing tower for the moment, is going to be giving Henners a tow.
Yeah, it's super powerful around here. The toe, we'll see it a few times, I think, tonight. And, well, timing around here is crucial for this as they come down towards the line. Hennes, you can see, just hugging the gearbox of his teammate. And, well, there it is, a 138.3. Basically a 138.4 to open us up here, Striff, but a nice lap and a nice bit of teamwork from the McLaren boys as well.
Well,
XTXP.
I was trying to jump on with XTXP, but he got to the line before I could, and it was a 39.166 out of the Renault with Relax coming in behind him, jumping into second at 38.603. Nobody beating out Hennes just yet. Excuse me, Crampy comes through at 38.101 in the Alfa Romeo, and the times are coming through hard and fast here already in Tier 2 racing action.
Yeah, I think there's been an issue through Castle. I think Hugh Sam there having an issue as Wavy hops up into P3 at 138.5 for the Alpha Tauri. But already Castle appears to have claimed a car here. And I think Wavy might actually be waiting for his teammate in Liam. Not sure, no, both drivers going slowly. So I think Liam was going to get a tow there, but not going to work out from his year. He's invalidated his lap as Swifty, he hops into P2. Nicely done from the Red Bull. And now he's going particularly slowly. I think possibly waiting for Jake to come back around, who's having a bit better luck. But Jean hopping into P1.
I know Swifty might have been out of fuel there. Aliens coming through to the line now. The Williams 12th position for him. His teammate Azir will follow suit to the line, and it will be, well, a delayed time set coming out of him, it would seem. Or did he just begin? No, he's set a lap, but my timing tower is playing games with me unless he was invalidated, but I don't believe he was. Neon, 37.614 into provisional pole as Pavel comes through into second at 37.839.
Well, already some really nice times coming in on that timing tower. Neon up there, 137.6 right now. I don't think he's particularly confident coming into this and, you know, fearing those walls, but track position in qualifying here, pretty important. Not as important as Monaco, but just because of these, you know, trains that form. If you can break away at the start of this race, it can really give you a good foothold towards the end of it. So, you know, nice to be up on the front row for this one, just so you can break away earlier in the race. Jake right now coming through turn 7 into 8 to open up into Castle. Going pretty nicely for him at the moment, but it was coming out of turn 15 where he had the issue on that first out lap where he lost a lot of his front wing. Obviously, he's repaired that now, but here he comes out through 13, through 14, down to 15, and it's here where you just have to try and take as much as you can here in qualifying, and that curb can bounce you into the wall, but it hasn't happened this time for the Red Bull. His teammate there, Swifty, I think you might be right, Stu. I think another Red Bull might be out of fuel now, maybe trying to time a slipstream for his teammate, but he's just run out of fuel trying to get around, and that might cost Jake here as he won't get a tow down towards the line. There's a racing point in front of him. He'll get a little bit of a slipstream there, but Jones not really wanting to give him that, and there we go. Jake up into P6, just ahead of his team at 138.2. Very consistent in the Red Bull squad. Well, Gars right now, I think one of the only drivers on a flyer in the Alfa Romeo, and he's coming down towards turn 7. It looks like he has dropped the lap though, so right now, not a lot that we're missing out on.
Just want to take a moment. Thank you everybody in the chat for coming through with some reports of issues. I believe I may have solved the issue. Please let me know. Give it a couple of minutes and get back to us. If not, we'll just switch to the backup stream for today, guys. Greatly appreciate the patience in chat. Ooh, a little bit of a tough time through Castle section there on the in-lap from Jake.
Well, you just lose a little bit of concentration when you're not flying. You're not pushing as hard as you were a moment ago, and well, you know, maybe talking to the race engineer or whatnot, and those you can't not focus through Castle, whether you're on an in-lap, out-lap, or flying. So here we go. Scars now. He will be starting a flying lap in the Alfa Romeo. His last lap might have been a timing tag glitch, might have been an outlap for the Alfa Romeo driver, but here he comes through turn 1 into turn 2, and we've got a yellow flag on the McLarens having, I think that's Hennes.
Scars into turn 3 right now. Scars yesterday coming through with some bold predictions for the Alfa Romeo squad. Crampy right now sitting in 5th. We'll see if he's able to come through. He had a stellar performance last week in Monaco. And, well, he had Adam and Lavelle pegged for a 1-2 yesterday. We'll see if the Alfa Romeos are able to get something cooking here in Baku. Turn 15. So XTXP getting into session once again. Love to see it.
Scars now coming out of the final turn. It's not really a corner at all, but, you know, a straight line, flat out down towards the line. Where is the Alfa Romeo? Got to put himself one of the few drivers yet to set a time. There he goes, a 1:38.1. Again, just slotting himself behind the teammate. And there goes, I think that was Kai Pacini in the Mercedes, a 1:38 flat. Going at him just 0.02 of a second behind Jones in the Racing Point. A few guys as well on flies, including Kai Pacini's reserve teammate tonight, Pavel. He's up into P2 already, out on a flyer again. Neon on an outlap. Jean, Jones, they're all coming back out as well. So really that second wind here for these guys. That second attempt, a much longer lap time than it is around Monaco, so the 18 minutes a little bit more restricting.
One driver I want to take our attention to is Azir, P17 on this timing tower right now, but having a good season thus far in the Williams, and he's coming through into turn 4 and yet to set a time in this session.
Well, Pavel, he's got a nice little strip stream here, not from his teammate, but from one of the Red Bulls. And it could really work out for him here as Crampy goes fastest of 1:37.5 for the Alfa Romeo. But Pavel to the line. Can he beat it at 1:37.8? His current best time. Can he find 3/10? Not 3/10, 1.1, just one. 1:37.7 for him. Still behind Neon, still behind Crampy, but a little bit of a buffer between him and Relax. And well, Jones in the other Racing Point. He's on for a pretty good lap here. He could see himself ahead of his teammate and maybe even challenge for that third place as well. So here he comes, DRS enabled, and again down to the line past the pit entrance, and well, across he goes. Fourth place it is, a 1:37.7, just off of Pavel's time. And well, that's what Pavel's got.
Azir says hello with provisional pole, a 37.5 out of the Williams. Wow. Williams coming to make a statement today, Unicorn.
Yeah, that just sort of hopped out of nowhere. The Williams just flying up past these guys who are, you know, well, there goes Neon. He's not going to have any of it. A 1:37.2, and he smashes his lap by 3/10. So these guys really fighting it out tonight for pole position. Neon, what an exceptional lap from him. And I think Hennes might have just come into the pit lane. So I think those McLaren guys really benefiting from that slipstream. And you're seeing it there with Neon. You know, that huge improvement to put him at the top. Hurricane right now in the Ferrari. He started a flyer. And Swifty as well. Although Swifty not going to be improving here. Calls it back into the pits. But Hurricane, he's still going. Hasn't set a time yet, and he is coming into this. The standings, well, he's at the top of the standings. Neon, though, right now, really looking to take advantage of the situation. Pole position could see him well into the lead of this championship if he can convert that into a win.
Well, turn 7 now. Utilizing a good portion of that inside curving now on the exit through into turn 8. Don't want to be going into that section driving a Ferrari, do ya, Unicorn?
Yeah, it's a cursed place for these Scuderia around here. Obviously, real life Charles Leclerc putting it in there last night as well. We saw a Ferrari put it into the castle section, so it's not exactly ideal for these guys, but Hurricane, he'll be wanting to break that curse tonight, as will Max O'Connor, reserving for the Scuderia as well. Yellow flag here, and Max O'Connor, I think, waiting for his teammate. He may have been last minute, but they're still working together, and it's lovely to see here as Hurricane, well, he needs to respond to Neon doing the same thing with Henners. To the line now. It's a 1:37.9, not a bad time for Hurricane, but still a lot of work to do if he wants to challenge Neon. Just 3,000ths behind Relax, but you know, 2 racing points ahead of him, and Mercedes and Alfa Romeo. Anna Williams all between him and his championship rival right now. Well, it's not going to be what he wants with just 3 minutes left in the session.
Jake now on another flyer. He hasn't found anything through Sector 1. We'll see if he's able to find something through Sector 2 now, out of turn 6. Coming into Castle section. Oh, a little bit of a brush there on the inside left. No damage.
Yeah, and it's a problem in qualifying. It's a bigger problem in the race because someone makes a mistake through there. You can really collect a couple of guys and also just stack people back. You know, you just have to break stock for the damage. You can't find a way past. So it can really space out the grid if someone has an issue through there. But Jake 7/10 up on his lap right now. And this could see him fly into the top 3 in this grid. Well, Red Bull won't be getting a slipstream though, Striff. That could cost him here. You can see Swifty flying on an outlap behind him.
Here we go to the line. Well, that's, I have to say, without a toe, an absolutely massive time from the Red Bull camp. So P2 for Jake. Very nicely done. Let's see who else will be preparing.
I think the Red Bull squad are towing each other. They're just doing it between turns 2 and 3. Well, maybe not. Jake just pulled off to the side there with Swifty, so I'm not sure whether Jake did get a tow off of Swifty given the proximity of his teammate behind him, but Swifty now on a flyer.
Both AlphaTauris on outlaps. Swifty on that flyer, and we now have XTXP coming through at a 16. Poll is now live. How many safety cars will we see in this race? Excellent question.
Swifty's just developed his lap. Very unfortunate for the Red Bull driver. Not a lot of time, and I think, in fact, you probably won't get another lap in here, Striff.
No,
unless you can really push at the end here and go again on this set.
Really crunch time now. Jones in the Racing Point coming through 5 and 6. Will be coming through to set a lap soon enough. As who is that just jumped through? I believe Scars. 37.873 from him, a 3/10 improvement. He's 7.
Yeah, Neon's just started a flyer as well, so some really fast guys right now on flyers this year. Crampy just about to start one. Pavel as well. These guys, they've only got 7 seconds to find the line. Crampy, I think, has got it, but Pavel, he's really cutting it fine here, and I don't think he's caught it. No. He hasn't. He's missed it.
Yeah, he has, and that's not going to be good. That 37.712 will be all he's going to get out of this session. Jones now is flying, and he is up on his time, and it could put him ahead into P5. He's getting a tow from his teammate quite far ahead. P5. So it's a 10th improvement coming out of Jones. Cavaccini
Yeah.
next to come through into the pit lane. Nothing coming out of the Mercedes camp. Enners
Ian.
has had an issue.
I think he's waiting for Neon's drift.
Oh, very clever out of the McLaren. So Neon just coming out of turn 15 now. Let's ride along with him as he'll look to improve his pole time. And he is purple through sector 2. And here we have Enners. Not given a very good toe here. Finding the wall.
He'll be first to the line. Oh, he's going straight into the pit lane drift. So Azir's not improving from P3.
Neon, will he be improving? Yeah, massively. He is in to the 36s with a 36.798, an absolutely rapid time coming out of the McLaren camp here. Will the Alfa Romeos be able to do something about this? Scars, Crampy heading down the straight now with a major toe. Is it good enough? Oh, it was good enough to get into second, but it wasn't good enough to get Neon, a 37.274. So we're here now back in Baku for another 26 laps of racing after the red flag and restart, and here we go. As we're on to formation, we take a look once again at this grid. It's Neon, Crampy, Azir, Jones, Pavel. We have Relax, Hurricane, Wavy, Jean, Kai, Enners, Swifty, Max O'Connor, Aliens, XTXP, Liam, Usam, and Scars. Just to clarify, there are 2 drivers missing. And that will be Viper and the Red Bull of Jake in this restart.
Yeah, and everyone still on those same tires, and also one person who would have been benefited from this. Jean, he starts P9 on the mediums because he would have started outside that top 10, but obviously those things happening there gets everyone back up onto the softs, the top 8 who qualified on it. But there he is, Jean, P9 on the mediums. So he'll be, dangerous for these guys, as well as, Kai Machini and Hennes as well. And well, what a better way to warm up for this race drift than to do half of it already.
Well, we've had a little bit of a cooldown break, though. Yeah, it's not like it was a smooth, quick restart. I mean, I'd say it was pretty smooth, considering we got the restart done the same day. Very thankful that we were able to get that done. But they've had a little bit of an opportunity to kind of sit and stew. Think about some of their potential mistakes in the previous race, maybe. But we'll just have to see how things play out here. Neon, Crampy, Azir, Jones, Pavel, Relax, Hurricane, Wavy, Jean, Kai, your top 10. We have Henners, Swifty, Max, Aliens, XTXP, Liam, Husam, and Scars on this grid. And it was quite the battle between Neon and Azir before we had that issue. We'll have to see if they're able to get together back on track throughout this one. Crampy now in second position. We saw an opening lap VSC in the last one. That played a little bit in the race. We'll see how things go on this race start.
Yeah, and well, Neon will be looking to do exactly what he did last time. Break that DRS in these opening few laps, Jeff. He did it well last time. The undercut and the VSC helped Azir last time. He might not get that again, so the weather's the same, but it's a roll of the dice on what happens elsewhere.
Definitely, as we now are ready to go racing here. 4 or 5 red lights, and I think we're going to have a bit of desync. There it is. The desync we used to be accustomed to, and now we are seeing these engines revving, and we're away racing in Azerbaijan. This time, Neon with a very good launch once again. It's wheel-to-wheel between Crampy and Azir. Azir doing some very, very good work already on this race start. He's taken a position off of the Alfa Romeo. Meanwhile, further back down the grid, Wavy and Hurricane have exchanged. Wavy, a little bit of a slide coming out of turn 2. This will expose him to the rear of this grid and a loss of positions. And what a race start this has been, as Hurricane now looking tight with Pavel into turn 3.
Yeah, Kai's had a nice start as well. He's up 2 and Relax too. He got up past the other Mercedes of Pavel, and he got really tight to the rear of his teammate Jones, but obviously wants to continue.
Enners and Max O'Connor getting into some wheel-to-wheel exchanging through into turns 5 and 6. Husam, XTXP also quite close. And now as we come through Castle section for the first time of the race, everybody just taking it easy. See if anyone has any issues, and so far it's clean all through this grid, and I imagine everybody will be happy that everyone's made it through Castle on the opening lap. No VSC, no safety car just yet. We still have one more sector to go as we come through turn 15. Neon leading this race with Azir and Crampy in his rearview mirrors.
Yeah, Crampy not having the best start. He's, you know, down a place, but he's still got a brilliant gap between himself and Jones, so he might get a little bit stuck on his own here, but he won't mind that if it means a solid P3 for him, and, well, the undercut's still available here. And at the same time, these softs won't die out quite as much because they haven't been used in qualifying now, so if they don't have that wear on them as we come down to turn 1 for the first time here, and looking for people who might get the move done. Doesn't look like anyone having a lunge just yet. And Azir is doing a nice job to stick with Neon. It's not quite going the same way that it did last time. Wavy's just squeezed past Jean as well, Striff, coming into that 5-6 chicane. Very nicely done from him. So brilliant move coming out of the AlphaTauri. He's on a real charge right now, trying to make use of these softs on the AlphaTauri. He needs to get past Kai Bacchini here, though, as well, who's on those slower compound tires.
Yeah, that was a very, very neatly done exchange there. We saw Hurricane with Pavel there. He's missing that front left end plate. I think he might have taken it on the rear of Pavel into turn 3. Sorry about that. Yeah, my mic had a bit of an issue. Greatly appreciate you guys coming through in the chat letting me know that there was no audio coming through. Jones and his teammate Relax right now looking quite tight coming through into turn 20. John and Wavy, well, that timing tower showing me that they're still exchanging. And there's Hurricane on his way into the pit lane early here to get that wing replaced as DRS has been enabled.
Yeah, the Racing Point squad exchange places, but a big lockup from Relax. I don't think his tires will thank him for that one as they come out through turn 2, and Relax does have the pace right now. Azir with DRS for the first time this race, not quite getting the run he needs down into turn 3, but he's held on, Striff. He's right here with Neon, and Neon going to be very worried as Kai Bacchini, Wavy, they're touching as they go side by side through turn 3, and Wavy, he's done it. He's got past the medium runner, and he needed to on this opening lap to go and hunt down the guys who are also starting on the soft compounds here.
Sam on the soft compound. He's on the rear of Swifty and Max as we come through 5 and 6, and he's in the same position as Wavy. He wants to be clearing some of these harder running drivers, and Swifty and Max on the hards, he should be making short work of these guys. And taking a look at that front wing, it is clean at the minute.
Oh, Kai Bacchini, Jean. Kai Bacchini, oh, and a dangerous rejoin as well. He's just said, I think that was Henners.
Yeah, Henners is out. Or Kai's retired. Well, who's gone in? Uh-oh. Sam in the Haas has gone into Kai Bacchini here. And we have a VSC deployment with a 2-car retirement here in Sector 2. I think that's a little bit warranting of a full safety car, but that's going to shake things up, and we'll see if anybody takes advantage and comes into the pit lane here.
Well, Henners definitely will. He's missing that entire front wing from that, so very unfortunate for him. Nothing he could have done there to avoid that incident. You can see here Aliens all over the rear of him, but it's a VSC. VSC ends, and, well, Aliens just going to breeze past there, making sure he gets the DRS to defend from Liam behind in the AlphaTauri. Up at the front, nothing much changing for those guys. Liam's actually missing an end plate as well, left-hand side for him, so he's going to nurse that car a little bit, but Azir still tight to the rear of Neon in the lead of this race.
Well, 2 seconds the gap between these front runners now and Crampy.
Yeah, and, well, Azir, he's just hanging on to the DRS, but at the same time, you can see he's dropping back a little bit in the opening sector, but now he's found a huge portion of time through Castle Striff, about 2/10 through there.
Next TXP in the Renault has retired. Very unfortunate to see XTXP out here early. Being told he had a drive-through penalty there as a result of the VSC, and that was the final nail in the coffin for him, I think, after a very long day and dynamic day of racing.
Yeah, these guys, you know, it may not be quite as physically intensive as a real-life F1 car, but it's certainly a little bit more rigorous, especially for the wheel drivers that are, you know, you're still going to be a little bit more aggressive than if you were just typing on your keyboard. Relax into the pits very early. I wonder if he's got wing damage. He doesn't. I think he might be serving a drive-through, but here comes Swifty. Max O'Connor down towards turn 1. Swifty, the DRS, aiding that Red Bull pass for P6.
Yeah, easy as you like there for Swifty and the Red Bull. Cleanly done into turn 1. Not much Max would be able to do there, and he'll have DRS for a moment here to potentially catch up with Swifty. Of course, both of these drivers, 6 and 7, on the hard compound tires, looking to go long, and this is good position for both of them right now, considering all of the soft runners ahead.
And it'd be, you know, Swifty's first podium if he can make that strategy work for him. It depends what the soft runners go for. Like I said, they haven't been used in qualifying, so the softs could go for a soft medium. Again, it is a stretch around here, but with that freshen up of that tire, then... Oh, here goes Azir. What a run! Out of turn 12 from the Williams. I certainly wasn't expecting it. I don't think Neon was either. And Azir, well, he's taken advantage of the slow exit by Neon, but I don't know whether it was worth it, because now Neon's got the DRS down into turn 1. Neon...
There's been an issue.
That front wing still... Yeah, Swifty. I've hit him with a commentator's curse there, haven't I, Striff?
Well, I have to say he was looking the wrong way, so I think you just might have yellow flag coming through there, and we know what happened last time we had a yellow flag through here. It ended up with 2 cars retired and a VSC here, as now Jones will inherit a position. Azir and Neon with the wheel exchange once again, as Neon will get the Williams back into turn 1. And the dance is really happening now between these two in the front end of this grid.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't quite sure why Azir went for the overtake when he did. The opportunity presented itself, but the DRS, you could just see that as gifted Neon back P1. So really, not quite sure what Azir was, you know, hoping to do there. Maybe he should have just used that opportunity to reserve a little bit more ERS as Wavy gets very close to the rear of Pavel, and it's just really slowing him down right now. Wavy on this restart, really, really strong. He's been curving his way through the grid. Liam, he's getting past Aliens up the inside, down into turn 3. Nicely done from him. And well, these guys, they may have done a few more laps than they bargained for, but they're still putting on a great show for us. Relax is on the rear of Max O'Connor.
All these little battles unfolding here in the track right now, as Relax has a little bit of a slide 3 out of 7 now, looking at this Ferrari quite closely on these softs, and he wants to be ahead of the hard runner right now. And we've had a yellow flag. Jean, yeah, he's had an issue coming out of turn 6 now. It doesn't look like he's got any major damage. We're trying to get the front look. He's very, very lucky. That front end, both end plates still intact, as Relax still on the rear of Max, looking into turn 16 now.
XTXP just coming across in chat saying that retirement, a physical problem with his wheel. Here goes Relax, Max O'Connor. Again, we're seeing it strip the slipstream, and now ERS and DRS in full action, and well, there's nothing that Ferrari can do to defend against this.
Relax Ooh, he almost slid through turn 1 on the exit there. I don't know if anybody else caught the way I did, but that was oh, now there's some wheel-to-wheel banging here between Liam and Pavel through turn 2, and it's going to be Pavel on the fresh rubber. Liam ahead of him for the moment, but wheel-to-wheel still side by side. We saw last race Pavel came out of the pit lane and he took off an end plate into that exit out of turn 2. This time I think he's keeping that front end clean, and he is.
Yeah, he hasn't made the same mistake twice, but it's good to see that didn't deter him. That, you know, racing attitude, that he knows that the track position around here, he needs to be in front of these guys. He doesn't want to be behind the slower tire, and well, he's done just that. So brilliant move from him, nicely done, and you know, well, brilliant to see that he's still in this.
I'm looking at Liam's car and I'm wondering now, he's missing his front left end plate, Unicorn. Did Pavel potentially
for
hit
a while?
Has it? Okay, because I was gonna say there was a little bit of a bang through turn 2.
I'm pretty sure he's been missing that since pretty much the start of this race. Maybe got caught up in the incident in sector 2 out of Castle, but yeah, he's been missing that one for a good few number of laps right now. He's doing really well though to nurse the damage, so you know, you'd be forgiven for not realizing it, because he really is holding Aliens up here, as I think Hennes has had another issue through that sector 2 section, and yeah, he's missing a huge portion of the front wing as Liam and Aliens.
Well, Relax has retired, and that is...
It's a safety car, but where's the car?
Where is Relax's car?
The only racing point on this circuit is Jones.
Well, lap 8, ladies and gentlemen, we have a full safety car being deployed, and that is huge in this race. That's going to really shake things up. Oh. Well, that would definitely be something.
That's why he's not retired on the track, because he's crashed in coming into the pit lane, and it is a fast entrance there on that, you know, down through turn 20. You're flat out through there, and with that pit wall, you have to switch to the left, but you want to lose as little speed as possible. And well, mediums to the end from here, definitely possible. We saw people do it from lap 9 yesterday, adding an extra lap. They weren't any risk of a puncture, so I'd be very surprised if, with the exception of maybe Pavel and all of those drivers who have already pitted, I think we're going to see all of the top 4, as well as Max, Aliens, and Scars all come in. Scars might have a problem, though, with the fact that Crampy isn't too far up the road. Actually, well, there is a pretty good gap between the two, but with the safety car, I think it might actually extend it here. So just enough. Neon, Azir, they've come in. Crampy, he's following suit. Wavy as well. He's looking like he's gunning for that left-hand side of the track. Max O'Connor. Let's see if he comes off of these hards.
It's a major thing here for these guys. They need to get in here. The question is, who's going to pick up the safety car? I think it'll be Neon just fine. They were so far ahead, and Neon's already on. Yeah, so Neon, the leader of this race, Azir, Crampy, Wavy, the leaders of this race will take back the lead of this race immediately behind this safety car here. The only thing is, we got to make sure Neon doesn't crash into the damn thing like we've seen other drivers do in practice. But there we go. Safety car now leading this race with that yellow light blinking, and everyone will do their best to catch it.
Well, Striff, there has been some things that I wasn't expecting here to happen. Azir's the only one of the leaders to go for mediums. And I think this is a brilliant call from the Williams squad. I was just saying, we saw people go from lap 9 yesterday under a safety car, go to the end of this race. I did it myself. Those tires will not be feeling that bad towards the end of this race. So Azir, he's had a brilliant brainwave, or an engineer has come across and really helped out here, because I think he's on a brilliant tire strategy. Also, Max O'Connor not coming into the pit lane here. Not quite sure what he's thinking there in that Ferrari. I think he should have gone for the mediums, because look at the timing tab from 6th all the way through 12th. Even Pavel, who just come in for fresh hards, has gone on to fresh mediums. Mediums are the call here. Wavy, Crampy, Neon, I think they've all missed the mark, Striff.
I think you're right. I think you've hit the nail on the head here. And as we look at this entire grid here with fresh rubber, Max O'Connor there on the 8-lap-old hards, I don't know what to say about this for him in the Ferrari. If he were to get and hold this position, have another safety car come out, it could be something. Fastest lap right now, a 42.347 from Azir. That's going to get faster on these mediums now, I imagine, as fuel comes off these cars. And we'll take a look at the position changes. Neon still in lead. Azir, Crampy, they've exchanged. We've got Max O'Connor. He's up 9 positions, so he's been doing a good to get himself into this 4th place position. Wavy there up 3. Pavel's dropped back out of 5th. We've got Swifty and Aliens up 5, 6 respectively. Jones down 5, Liam up 6. Scar's down, or excuse me, up 7. Scar's having a good drive from where he started at the back, and then everybody else has dropped positions. Hurricane, John enters 5, 4, 3 as you go down 2, 3, 4 for that 12, 13, and 14 slot on this grid. So definitely a dynamic race, and I'd say it's been a little bit more dynamic here so far in these 10 laps than it was in the previous 10 laps of this campaign we've already seen these drivers go through.
Well, both races have certainly had their ups and downs, and now, well, the tyre strategy here very, very varied, and I'm trying to work out who you know, if I was a gambling man, who I would put my money on to win this race. I can't. I feel like Azir, he's got a really good chance at the top stop shift, but that podium, that's eluding me. Pavel, Swifty, those guys have got a good shot, I think, on those mediums. Wavy, Pavel, Swifty, those guys, they all have to clear Max. Max right here, he threatens to be a rolling roadblock on these 9-lap-old hards compared to the fresher tires. And Wavy on the hards himself might struggle to clear him. And if Pavel can get past Wavy and then Max, he could be on for a nice little podium if he plays his cards right. He just needs to clear the traffic as quickly as he can.
Well, I do believe we'll have the safety car come in here at the end of lap 10 to give us some green flag racing on lap 11. And Unicorn, I was saying yesterday in Tier 3 racing action how it was around this circuit, my friend, that I had really started to put those safety car causes more safety cars theories. And, well, we'll just have to see. We haven't had a safety car yet, a full safety car in this Tier 2 grid. We didn't see one in the last run around here. But I can say now that we have had a safety car, officially, that Season 2 and Season 3 for Tier 2 MRL Racing, in both those races, presented us with 4 full safety car deployments. We'll just have to see how things go. I'd have to say after the previous race and the racing we've seen so far, we might not get there, but the safety car is coming in.
Well, we're all about breaking records and going as fast as possible, but I think that's one record we don't want to break here this evening. And Azir, well, this restart, this is critical, Striff. Max O'Connor's received a 5-second penalty. I think he's going to get that one removed, but he's going to have to serve it in the pit lane. Yeah,
I think Wavy and him might be in the same boat there. Azir, Neon, let's see when Neon hits the throttle and sends it down into turn 1. Now he is away. Has Azir caught him well? Yes, he has. Crampy. Everyone catching well on this leader, Neon, as we come through turn 1 now. Max O'Connor, Wavy, wheel to wheel. There's been a bash through turn 1 as Wavy's hit the wall. He will drop a little bit here, and he's going to be exposed massively by the cars behind. Right now, wheel to wheel with Aliens. Aliens on these mediums as well as his teammate Azir. Azir still sticking very well with Neon. We have not had an exchange for lead just yet between these two drivers. Just Wavy dropping a significant amount of positions. And now Jones will sneak through on the inside of turn 3, as will his teammate Liam. So Liam jumping into 9th ahead of Wavy. Wavy really struggling right now.
There's big damage on that Alpha Tower. He picks him up with that collision.
Yeah,
he's struggling so much. And here comes Hurricane as well.
Wow. Wavy, it really has not gone well on this restart. Max O'Connor on that inside of turn 1. Wavy on the outside. He took a little bit of damage off the outside wall through exit, and it's been downhill from there.
Yeah, I think he took damage under the safety car at the very end there. That's what caused the collision, and Wavy's out.
Well, there's another safety car. Ladies and gentlemen, lap 11. On the heels of a safety car restart, we have had another safety car deployment, and it looks like Wavy has crashed through in castle section. We'll have no view of that And I'm starting to go back to my other theory. Unicorn.
Well, you're not wrong. Safety cars do breed safety cars, but I actually don't know what caused that. Wavy just struggling for grip, I think. He actually crashed outside of Castle. He crashed down into the outside of turn 12, so I think he just lost grip coming up at the elevation change there. So very unfortunate for him. There we go. Max O'Connor does come into the pit now, but he's going to drop all the way to the back of this grid. So that really hasn't worked out for him.
Well, what has worked out for him here is he's going to shred the penalty. He's going to shred that 5 seconds. He's going to get onto fresh mediums now. And he is going to have the absolute freshest tires on this grid, with the exception of Jean and Henners, who are also in for fresh rubber. And let's take a look and see what they do. So Jean's getting that wing changed over. He's on to mediums. Worn mediums at that. And Henners is also on some worn rubber here. He had to come into the pit lane. So Max O'Connor is now into 11th position on the freshest rubber on track.
Well, not really much has changed since that last safety car. Realistically, the only difference now, Striff, is that, well, Pavel has a much better look at the rear of Crampy. That's the biggest change here that I can think of. Azir wasn't able to take advantage, but if Pavel is, and we've seen him out of the pit lane, he is not one to stray away from a move into turn 2. So even if he doesn't get Crampy into turn 1, he might be able to use that additional traction through turn 1 into turn 2, and that Mercedes, he's going to be hungry for that position. We've seen him put some, great overtaking, some great pressure on drivers. Crampy, fairly experienced, I think, Crampy this week, using new pedals. We've seen him, out of the last couple, I think, because of that physical problem he's had with the existing pedals, but he's got new ones now. And the young Brit, well, he's using them to good advantage here tonight. P3 right now, and he's been all by himself for the most part of this race. Now these safety cars brought him back into the swing of things, not only with cars behind, but cars in front. It's not over for him, but this is preserving the medium compounds, and his Azir's tires, if anyone was doing it before, they're definitely going to make it into this race comfortably now.
Yeah, and we might have had the safety car come in here, but it needs to go around one full lap, if I'm not mistaken, even though the entirety of this grid has caught up with the queue. Thought maybe we might see the late call in there on this 12th lap, but it will go through for one more, as Neon will cross us into the 13th lap.
Yeah, well, we have reached the halfway point, and, well, Neon still in lead of things, and he'll be happy to have kept it there.
Hurricane in for a wing change and a fresh set of mediums. Enters. He's getting a fresh set of mediums as well, it would appear. Or he's... I don't know if it's showing up on your tower, but it's showing me that he still is wearing 4-lap old mediums on that car.
He is. I don't know if he's just going in for wing.
How many stops? Hold on. How many stops? 4 stops from Henners. So he's shuffling tires. He's shuffling tires.
Now, I wonder why, because it's not like he's really going to have to use those other mediums. Because everyone here should have a fresh set of softs available to them because of, because of the lack of qualifying. I imagine. So I think he's just going for as many pit stops as he can here. But I don't see any reason to be shuffling the tires because, well, I don't see why you'd need that extra set of mediums.
I just want to say one thing, and I don't always do this, but I just want to take a moment to single somebody out in the chat. Mr. Some Idiot 16. That was funny. I had to mute and laugh at that for a moment. Thank you, sir, for that, and thank you for keeping the chat entertained and for keeping us entertained. I think you might have laughed as well, Unicorn.
I didn't because I didn't actually look at the chat, but I have now.
That was good.
But there we go. Moving past that, race control's bringing that safety car into the pit lane. And, well, Neon, for the second time in a short amount of time, will be restarting this race.
This is what it's come down to now. The second safety car restart. You know what might happen here. There's a lot of different strategies now unfolding, but Neon is in control of this restart now. And when is he going to hit the gas? Azir keeping very tight to him. And here goes Neon now. Pedal to the metal. Throttle down. Locked and loaded is this grid as we jump into racing. Swifty along the outside of Pavel here into turn 1 around the outside. Does he get this done into turn 2? Does he hold this? Pavel now back on the inside, the Mercedes. No contact between these two drivers right now. It is still wheel to wheel between these two. Meanwhile, further back down, Max and Scars are wheel to wheel, and it's crazy racing here. Swifty now on the outside of turn 3 a little bit later, or sorry, a little bit earlier on the brakes than Pavel, and Pavel will hold 4th for now. That was very tight. Meanwhile, Max, Scars, Aliens, Liam, everyone is tight here. Liam, Aliens. Liam and Aliens right now 7-8 respectively for them as they're fighting. And I heard a little bit of a brush. Wasn't sure if it was ahead or behind as Henner's now looking for that final points position into turn 7. There's a little bit of desync there, and you hate when it plays with races. But Henner's into 10th right now as we come into Castle. And we're clean here on this restart so far, Unicorn.
Yeah, nice restart. Jones has got a pretty nice run on Swifty coming out of turn 12 through 13, 14. And, well, he might have a look at the inside. He's not going to do it. Down into 15. It's a risky overtake. Swifty taking what's known by some drivers to the esports line. And you can see there, it's just gaining him a lot of time on the racing point behind him. And coming out through 16. That could cost Jones here. He just won't have the best run on Swifty, not because of the speed out of the corner. You can see he's not got bad speed at all down this straight, but he's just losing out a little bit. Azir not going to get the move, I don't think, down into turn 1 here. But here goes the racing point. He's still going to get Swifty regardless, at least side by side into turn 1. Swifty could go late on the brakes here, though, down into the corner. A little bit of a lock-up from the Wed Bull, but he is around the outside. And he's holding on to P5 for the moment. Can Jones find it into turn 2? He's had a little bit of tap onto the rear of the Red Bull. Swifty has to avoid the wall, and Jones is indeed passed. Plus, he will have DRS, but I don't think Jones is actually using it here. Oh, we haven't got DRS. DRS hasn't been re-enabled, and here comes Liam around the outside. Swifty late on the brakes to stop the AlphaTauri getting past as well, but I don't think he's done enough here. Liam up the inside coming into turn 4, and well, that's a nice move. Swifty with a switchback though. There's still side by side coming down into turn 5, and Swifty backs out to give himself a little bit of breathing room through the chicane.
Oh, but he's looking for a good exit here as well. He's still so tight to the rear of Liam. The AlphaTauri versus the Red Bull, and we're coming through turn 7 now. Jones is starting to escape ahead, and this is not what these racers want. They do not want that racing point running away ahead of them.
Yeah, and this is, brilliant news for Pavel, who's able to just hunt down Crampy without any threat from behind. He's not being pressured by anyone now. Crampy, if Pavel overtakes Crampy, and you'd expect that he would have the tire advantage he has now, but he's got to do it quickly before the mediums do start to drop off. They will make it to the end comfortably, but they will drop off compared to the hards a little bit. And Crampy, if Pavel does pass him and he starts to drop back, he'll have a nice little buffer behind him. So these guys, they really could have cost themselves here with this fighting that they've done fairly quick after this restart.
Henner's in Hurricane right now in an absolute drag race down into turn 1. The Ferrari now into 10th position. This is a battle for that final points position as we've seen it unfold in Hurricane and Henner's. Well, we've been seeing them do a lot of racing in Baku, given the restart now and how things were going between them earlier. They have been fighting all evening. Scars. Well, I thought I heard a bash with the wall there. Not entirely sure who took the damage or if there was any damage. Swifty, Liam. Swifty now into 6th position ahead of Liam as we come out of turn 3 through 4 now.
Hurricane. I had a look at the inside of Aliens just sorry to top, but he had a look at the inside of 4 very late on the move. No,
there's been a tap from, it looks like John, into the rear of Henner's, and he's tapped Hurricane. Uh-oh. That wasn't too good.
Swifty a little bit sidewards coming out of turn 12, and that could cost him the run here. with Liam. Liam getting a lot closer to the rear of that Red Bull than he was a minute ago, and that's going to give him a brilliant run if he can get it out of turn 16. Swifty there bouncing off the curb a little bit through 15, and this is really hurting the Red Bull, not only to Liam, but Jones ahead. Jones, one on his own right now as he's waiting for Crampy and Pavel, because Crampy, you know, he won't have a lot with the tires right now to defend against Pavel, but the DRS can keep him in that fight for as long as possible. Azir, does he have to run this time on Neon? He's much closer to the McLaren than he was. Neon just a bit later on the brakes, though, down into turn 1. Liam and Swifty, they do exchange. Liam up into P6, and Swift, we've got less than 10 laps to go, and these guys, they haven't really split up that much from the safety car. A few pockets forming here and there, but still cars close to each other all over this track.
Well, speaking of close together, Aliens, Hurricane now. We saw Hurricane go for it on the inside of Aliens a few moments ago. This time he's made it happen into 9th position as Pavel and Crampy are exchanging through turn 3, wheel to wheel now. Pavel holding on to 3rd. Crampy really doesn't like that, and Crampy wants to make sure that he holds on to 3rd, and it's Pavel right now ahead of the Alfa Romeo.
Whichever way you look at it, that was really good for Jones. He's gained about 9/10 on the drivers ahead, and if he plays his cards right, he'll have DRS on Crampy. He can use that to slingshot himself straight into Pavel's DRS, so we'll have to see how this one pans out. You can see him now closing into that 1 second range, and this is brilliant news for the Racing Point. He's going to be super, super happy. This one's just brought him back into contention for what could be a podium here if he can get past Pavel and stay there by the end of lap 26. Meanwhile, the lead still in the hands of Neon, but he's having to use a lot of ERS to stay there, and Azir, he's reserving that battery, both using it coming out of turn 16.
One thing to talk about was Hurricane getting a nice move through on Scars through turns 5 and 6, and he's now into 8th position as Azir down the straight, that rear wing wide open as he waves hello and potentially goodbye for a moment to the McLaren into turn 1. Not a lot that Neon can do there, and it is now Azir into lead of this race.
Yeah, that exchange. Nice. Just Neon not getting the best exit at all out of turn 2. DRS wide open will let him recover a little bit and give him a little bit of a moment to collect himself as he has to hunt back down the Williams, and now he has to play the game of reserving the ERS behind him. Pavel still staying ahead of Crampy, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to use these mediums through sector 2 into the opening of sector 3 to get himself a nice gap between him and Crampy. He needs to get that 1 second. Jones is tight to the rear of the Alfa Romeo as well. Crampy just hasn't got the pace on those hards, and I think him going to the hards on this safety car really has hurt him here. I think Neon, he's been all right. He just needs to stay with his ear, and maybe the tires at the end of this race will give him that little ounce of speed that he needs to get back past the Williams.
Crampy on the rear of Pavel right now with Jones in his rearview mirror. Jones really wanting to move through here on Crampy as we come through sector 2. Stopping through turns 13, 14, now heading into 15. This DRS is going to be available shortly, but Crampy with DRS on Pavel to defend for a moment.
Everyone just sticking to one another, and there's a yellow flag in sector 3. Who is that? Nothing too... I think it's Hurricane. Hurricane's had a problem, Striff. The Ferrari, he's missing a huge portion of the left side of his front wing. And, well, he's had problem after problem here this evening. And
yeah,
I think this might just be game over.
Extremely unfortunate there for Hurricane. He's on his way into the pit lane. And that's it. Yeah, he believes that is it for him, and he will not be able to recover.
Down into hairpin for Pavel and Crampy. You can see the gaps just slipping away from him through his fingertips, and well, this is meaning one thing for Jones. He just needs to get past Crampy as quickly as possible. He's in the range now where Crampy will start holding him up.
That's right.
And that's not what he needs. And he needs to get out Pavel. He needs to go now and he needs the DRS to slingshot him down into turn 1 past Crampy, so he's got DRS on the Mercedes down into turn 3. It's critical. He almost needs to get it done this lap, or he'll never make the move on Pavel in time.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive that Jones dispatches Crampy as quickly as possible here. One thing to talk about, fastest lap of the race currently being held onto by the Williams, a 1:41.619 from Azira, and there's been a retirement. He's out of this race. Neon's out of this race. There's a VSC deployed, and that was the pole sitter. No longer in contention, ladies and gentlemen, here on lap 19.
Well, he said coming into this that he wasn't confident, and he's done nearly, he's done well over another half of a race that he was expecting to do. Consistency, he had enough for one race, not for two, though. It's so unfortunate to see him out. He's been so strong all evening, but now, Azir, he's just won the battle of endurance, Striff, and now 7 seconds to Pavel behind unless he makes a similar mistake to what Neon's just done there. I can't see anyone else winning this race. This is, saved Crampy a little bit as we go back to green flag racing. He's still in that P3.
When you were telling me that Jones could be on for a podium, I did not count Neon out of that equation. I just want to be clear. But now it's even more possible with Crampy ahead of him on these hards, Jones on these mediums.
Yeah, Jones. It was touch and go whether he'd get a podium before. Now, like you said, the opportunity has really awoken for him, although he's taking a lot of that corner down into turn 7. You've got to be careful with the turn track limits there, and as well through here coming out of turn 12, taking too much on the inside or the outside can cost you. So we haven't got any penalties at the moment. I think Max O'Connor was the only one who picked one up earlier in the session that's still in this, who served that 5 second in the pit lane. So nothing to speak of in that case. So the driver's doing very well right now, and Crampy sticking to the rear of Pavel just a little bit, and enough to get him DRS again. I think this will keep him in the DRS range for an extra lap than he would have been otherwise. So great news for him, and that keeps him and his podium hopes alive for that little bit extra here. And he's only got 6 laps left. Max O'Connor and Scars, they've exchanged, and very early on, I wonder if the Alfa Romeo drivers had a problem here, because he will now have DRS, which is not what Max wants. As well, here you go, Scars is going to go back past the Ferrari in the sister team car.
Well, Max has absolutely no battery in comparison to that Alfa Romeo unicorn here. Max O'Connor dancing under that 10% range with Scars well in above 60 right now, and that's really good for him to try and push to catch up, or at the very least push away from Max. But Swifty 6.4 seconds ahead of the Alfa Romeo, as Crampy still just holding well with Pavel. Jones in 4th. I think just waiting and waiting here to really strike as Crampy's battery.
Well, here he goes.
A little bit lower, yeah, and up the inside now into 7, the racing point. Tight between both drivers. Crampy's still just ahead. You can see Jones very patient here.
Well, that's a big problem, because now look who's broken the 1 second
right.
barrier. Pavel. He's gone. He's out of it, and that's pretty much the last opportunity he's going to need.
I think Jones might have just cost himself here, as long, but Crampy's still in that DRS range, just dancing in it. Looks like Pavel might have dropped a good chunk of time here. Look at, he lost nearly 4 tenths coming through 15, and it's because Crampy's utilizing that curb, I think, a little bit differently.
He's also using that ERS a little bit differently. He's on 5% compared to 20 and, well, 35 for Jones. So I think Crampy doing a little bit of an ERS dump there has helped out Jones more than it's helped himself, as he's still got DRS, but the racing point is going to fly by using way more ERS, because Crampy's just got none left in the tank. And now Jones, he's done exactly what we said he needed to do. It's a little late in the race, but he's got DRS on Pavel. 4 lap strip. It's a tall order, but he's right where he needs to be.
Yeah, this is a wild race now to the end between these few drivers. 4 podium positions, P2, P3 up for grabs right now, as Pavel 8.2 seconds on the rear of Azir. Azir has really taken off, and he was being held in check by Neon until Neon had that very unfortunate incident. But now we are down to 10 drivers as Jean will come into the pit lane here. I imagine fitting for softs to attempt to fastest lap. But as it stands, the final 10 drivers on this grid, well, they're all going to be going with points, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll be, particularly happy with that for themselves, for their constructors, for the combined constructors. Everyone in this race right now, like you said, scoring points, and it just goes to show hanging in there, even if, it wasn't looking great from the start. As Swifty picks up the first penalty we've seen, it won't cost him a position right now. But if he was able to go and fight Liam, then it will. But we've got a yellow flag. It's Aliens. Castle picks up another point here. I think some people are keeping score in the chat. The Williams missing a big portion of the right-hand side of the front wing. Aliens here. Even though he might drop down to Jean if he comes in to the pit lane, he might even be able to stay out here with just an end plate missing. Just needs to keep on going for these last few laps to, like we said, pick up the couple of points.
Jones still within half a second of Pavel. I have to say he's been doing a very good job of catching Pavel. I think it's clear that he's being a little bit held up by Crampy overall there.
The thing is, he's just got to get by. It's all well and good staying behind. The DRS here helps you with that immensely. It's just about the overtake and timing the overtake as well. Timing the overtake when you've got to do a last lap, move like Jones has got to do. He's got to be careful where he does it. If he does it, coming into turn 1 on lap, 25, he could see Pavel come back down into turn 3 on the final lap, and that would cost him. He wouldn't have much of an answer. Maybe a drag race to the line, but the DRS is a little bit too late.
Second separating Rampy from Pavel realistically. Scars has just picked up a penalty. 3 seconds for Scars, and that's good for Max O'Connor right now, right behind him in 8th.
Yeah, really nice for Max, and a couple of reserves here scoring points more for the Pirates. They've been affectionately coined that, and Pavel here, he's put on a good show. Max O'Connor as well, these two reserves. Brilliant showing from the pair of them, and Max O'Connor as well. It was a last-minute call-up. Someone wasn't able to attend, and well, he got himself in here, and now he's going to get himself a couple of points. They'll go on the standings for himself. Obviously, they won't affect the driver's standings, but they will affect him, and who's the best reserve. And Crampy very wide through turn 1. I think he almost hit the wall there. Just manages to keep himself on the rear of the racing point.
Well, Jones within 2/10 range as we came through turn 1 there. So we'll see if he's just trying to keep well with Pavel. They're both quite equal in battery deployment. And we could very well see an absolute last lap war between these two for that second place position. And Crampy will be looking to potentially pick up any kind of, well, crumbs that fall out from it.
Well, if these two battles slow into a corner, in particular, let's say they battle into turn 2, Crampy could get a nice run on the final lap if that's where they choose to go for it. And, well, he could pick up the pieces like you said, and then you just got to make your car as wide as possible through sector 2. Pretty easy to do through there, and just hope that you've got enough ERS in the tank, enough fuel as well to put it in rich. And I think Pavel might be doing just that now, because look at the gap strip. He's really pushing right now. And that's exactly what he needs to do. Both drivers, Pavel and Jones, on similar battery percentages. Crampy's gained a little bit as well, so he's not too far off.
Zier is just about to fly in, start the penultimate lap of this race, lap 25, as the battle continues to unfold for podiums here. Of course, before we jump into the finale of this race, just want to give a quick shout out to everybody who's been following along all evening, to all of the drivers who've participated in this one and gone, at this point, nearly 80 to 85% of a realistic F1 race, because we've had to restart, etc. But just thank you to everybody in the chat and to everyone who's hit that follow button supporting the MRL. Of course, shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. You can find them via the link in the chat and via the panels down below. Check out their website for some awesome sim racing gear.
Nothing doing for Jones. Down into turn 3. He's still holding off, and I think that's a wise move from the Racing Point. He needs to be ahead this time next lap, but not this lap. So here we go. Aliens, he picks up fastest lap, 140 for the Williams squad, and well, that helps out big time. Who, for a squad that's going to pick up a lot of points here, it would seem, in the closing stage of this race, they're set to do very well here. Here we go. This is the run. This is what Jones needs to do. He needs to execute turn 16 pretty much perfectly and get the run of a lifetime on Pavel here. Pavel already using battery, and he's got more of it as well to use. Crampy's burning a little bit of ERS as well to stay with these guys who he knows are going to be burning their battery. I think Pavel's done enough here to keep himself ahead down into turn 1. He needs to do the same again down into turn 3. Both drivers now in the teens on their battery, their ERS. They're pretty much identical. Crampy really being dropped from the fight. You can see how much these two are pushing. It's really evidenced by the gaps of the Alfa Romeo behind them. Jones much closer coming out of turn 2 than he was out of turn 16. Max O'Connor and Scars, they've exchanged. They would have done so anyway with penalties, but it's all about this, the gap for P2. Jones flying as hard as he can. Pavel, the little bit of extra ERS saved him there, and I think it might have just saved his P2 as well. We'll have to see though. Turn 16, Jones will have really one last attempt down to the line as... well, that's pretty much it, Striff. That's his only other hope, unless he can get a move into turn 15.
Well, we'll just have to see how things come down at the end of the line here, as Jones looks to stick extremely well. Oh.
Well, you hate to see
that. That wasn't just me. I'm assuming that was you as well. And there goes Crampy into third position because of a lag coming out of Jones. And ooh.
Oh, no one wants to see that. Someone in the chat said earlier that Jones was experienced a bit of lag, but you don't want to experience it that much. And well, he's still got the opportunity to finish third here if he gets the exit, but he's even got less battery than Crampy, and the Alfa Romeo might just be able to hold him off here.
That's a very, very hard thing to see here as Azir weaves his way to victory here in Baku. It's Pavel with Crampy. Jones hunting him down. Pavel, the Mercedes, to the line, is going to take second position here with Crampy following closely in third. Jones will take fourth after some lag coming into that one, and you can see it's really picked up here at the finale of the race for him, I think, and that's just bad timing. I don't know what to say about that, but what a race it's been here on the restart, as Liam comes fifth, Swifty in sixth, Max in seventh, Scars will take eighth, Aliens still driving now, flying through sector 3 in the Williams. To finish out this race, Jean, 32 seconds behind him, will be the last driver to finish, and he is currently coming through sector 2.
Yeah, and Shani may be finishing P10, but he does the fastest lap as well, and finishing in the top 10 means he'll pick up the extra point for it for the Haas squad. So, you know, nicely done from him to pick it up. I think him and Alien sort of went for the battle on the softs at the end of this one. And, well, Jean came out on top. Aliens a 140.6, snagged it for a bit, but a 140.2 for Jean. Really nice stuff from the Haas driver to pick that extra point up. Knew he was going to finish P10, so just went for the softs, picked up the extra point. Really well played from him.
Yeah, very well played. Hugging that inside wall there, and I think he got a little shaky with the AI, but that is the end of this one. Wow. What a phenomenal race in the end that one was. It really came down to the line, and I just have to say thank you to everybody who tuned in for this one. We're going to be heading off with a raid in a few moments, but of course interviews before that, and of course thank you to Crampy for the raid of 14. Congratulations on that last lap rush to a podium, and what a race from Azir, I have to say. Unicorn.
Yeah, he really did well. It was a real battle of attrition because, these guys, they've just done way more laps than they were expecting to do, and that does take its toll. And, well, it did for Neon, and you hate to see someone retire like that from a battle for the lead. But Azir, he stepped up to the plate. He did what Neon couldn't, and he's won this race. So really well done for the Williams.
Yeah, really, really well done. Third to first for Azir. Pavel, fifth to second. And it was Crampy who started on the front row, who still manages to take a podium here in third. Jones, so close. He started this race in fourth. A little bit of lag, a little bit of desync, throwing him into fourth position here as we came through the second sector. Now Liam, 16th to 5th for him. We have, of course, Swifty in the Red Bull. He started this race in 12th. He finishes 6th. Max O'Connor, 13th to 7th. Scars will go 18th to 8th. 14th to 9th for Aliens, and John, he drops back into 10th from 9th where he began. 6 stops coming out of the Haas and still managing to take that point. It really goes to show that there are always opportunities, and most especially here in Baku. What a race that one was. And of course, we're just going to get into some interview action in just a quick second here.
Yeah, just phenomenal drive from these guys. And not only Azir, for beating Neon there, and I've been mentioning the battle there, but all of these guys have had to do the same number of laps. They've all had to do and go the extra mile here around what was almost a 100% race around Baku. I don't know what lap we finished the last race on, but these guys have really been put through their paces today. And well, it's shown that those of these guys who can go for that little bit longer, and endurance series, which isn't too long from returning it, there is that switching points drift. We see it there, where drivers who can go that a little bit extra, their mind could go further. Those guys on wheel, it's a little bit more physically demanding than the pad drivers. And well, Azir's done the best job here, but all of these guys who finished that race really nailed it.
Well, get these interviews sorted out here. Welcoming back to interview action here in the commentary booth. Congratulations, Crampy. How are you feeling after a very, very long evening of racing? You captured third position. You started this race on the front row both times, but you finished here in third. Talk us through your evening.
First of all, I'm very tired because that took ages. And I didn't have the race pace that was wanted, and I'm not that good at starts, so Azir got me like both times. I was just with sitting third the whole time, which I was happy with. But then with the safety cars, I went on to hards when others went on to mediums, and then
Definitely played a role in this race, that safety car. How are you looking ahead next week for the Canadian Grand Prix Round 9?
It's a track I like to drive, so hopefully I can get good points, maybe another podium, and yeah.
A little more excited for that one than
powerful.
Baku, or do you have, between this race and the next race, which one would you say you're better prepared for?
Probably Canada.
Okay. Well, Crampy, congratulations on third position, and thank you for taking the time to race in a very long campaign tonight. Congratulations on third.
Thank you.
All right, now I do not believe we have the second place finisher available for an interview at this time, so we're going to jump right into it with Mr. Azir. Welcome, Azir, to the commentary booth. A race winner for Williams here in Baku. What a drive it was. A very, very thrilling battle, especially after the first race. Unfortunately, we had to restart. Just congratulations on the win for starters. And, well, how you feeling?
Thanks for all. Feels good, another win for the team. It was an intense battle with Neon. I overtake him, and at the safety car I put mediums, and then I don't know what happens with Neon, but I see he retires of the session, and I just drive to the finish line, and yeah, it was a good race.
Well, it was a very dynamic race with the safety cars coming out, with, of course, the restart. It was a huge battle in the first race, then another battle in the second race, and it just ended up not going the way of the McLarens today. And it was all for the Williams squad. Congratulations, Azir Unicorn. Do you have any questions for Azir, our race winner tonight?
Well, Azir, you know, congratulations again. Brilliant race from you. It's been a bit of an up and down season, you know. You've been on the podium 4 times now, but at the same time, you finished out the points 3 times. This win brings you within 1 point of the top spot of the standings. How are you feeling, not only for next week, but the weeks after, now that you're so close to that top spot? Do you think you can win this whole thing, man?
Yeah, I think I am in the battle for the title, so I just want to continue with the podiums, and if I can with the wins, and continue in the battle of the title.
Yeah, well, again, huge congratulations for tonight, man. You did absolutely awesomely, and you know, a big thank you for coming out here and taking the time to interview us as well after what was a really long evening of racing.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much for that.
Well,
that was
with that, what a race.
That was amazing. That was an amazing race. Thank you to everybody in the chat for sticking with us for a little bit of an extended broadcast today. I think, Unicorn, with all of the issues we sorted ourselves out with, but what a race it was. And thank you again and again, everybody, for hanging with us. That's it for me. I think, Unicorn, if you have any closing statements before we jump into the outro and raid.
All right, well, that was, super long. Definitely, with the exception of Endurance, the longest MRL broadcast we've ever done. But yeah, again, huge shout out to you guys, the mods as well, who all helped us to get this all back underway. Be sure to check out all of the race highlights and recaps over on the MRL YouTube channel, and get yourself in the Discord as well for all of the news and the community races as well that go on in MRL. A brilliant community. And make sure as well you check out Next Level Racing. Go and check out their amazing sim racing rigs. All budgets covered by them, all the way from beginner to advanced level stuff. They're doing brilliant things for the sim racing community. So be sure to check them out in the links and panels below and in the chat. But I think that's all from us tonight from what's been a long thing. It's been tiring for us, the drivers, but it's been fun. We got a brilliant race out of it in the end. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time for Tier 1 here around Baku, and then Sunday for the APAC division. But we're going to go hit a member of the F1 community with a raid. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.